Hey guys, Foxdrop here, and today I wanted to do a video on the recent change that Riot has introduced to matchmaking, which is where they have randomized the pick order in Champion Select. In the past few days I've seen quite a lot of complaints about this change, whether that's been on Reddit or on the LoL forums. People aren't too happy with the fact that this has been introduced, and this isn't going to be another video that is just going to whine about it all and complain, because I actually wanted to talk a little bit about it and maybe dispel some of the myths or misunderstandings that people have regarding the issue. So the core of the issue and why people are so upset is that now players with a lower league than you can pick higher than you. Now first and foremost, this is the wrong way to be thinking about it, because your league doesn't mean anything as far as Champion Select goes, and this isn't the problem with the players. It's not their fault for thinking about this. It's just the way that the system works and the fact that you have a hidden ELO or MMR, which is your matchmaking rating. The way the matchmaking system works is it puts together 10 players of a similar MMR or hidden ELO. Your league has literally nothing to do with what players you play with in your games. And even though your league has nothing to do with your MMR, there's oftentimes a positive correlation between the two. So if you have a higher league, you'll most likely have a higher hidden ELO as well. Unfortunately, what this means is that your league actually means nothing. Like, it genuinely means jack shit as far as pretty much anything is concerned. All your league is good for is a badge of honor on your profile, bragging rights, and rewards at the end of the season. Your league is so meaningless that if there was a way for you to be able to see your hidden MMR, then your league would become completely null. No one would ever look at it ever again. However, like I touched upon briefly earlier, there is a positive correlation between your MMR and your league, so chances are your league is a fairly accurate depiction of what skill you are. However, that is all it is, fairly accurate. It is by no means precise, and that is where all of these issues start to arise. This is actually a fairly common cause of complaint back in Season 3 as well, especially with the players who had reached the 5th tier of a specific league, so say Diamond 5, Plat 5, Gold 5, Silver 5, whatever, and then they would be unable to drop back down into the lower tiers, but their MMR is capable of dropping down. So they would be, say, Diamond 5, but because they've lost quite a lot of games, their MMR has gone lower, they will be playing with players who are mid-plat. And similar to what's happening now, this creates quite a lot of tension, because they could actually be picking lower than people who were of a lower league because their MMR was so low. Their profile would show them as a diamond player, but they would be playing with people of a lower league and oftentimes picking below those players as well. So that would lead them to go and blame Riot or start raging at their teammates, or otherwise just cause quite a lot of frustration. Another example of why your league doesn't mean so much, and this is an extreme example, but people would create Smurfs, tank them down to Bronze 5 league, and then they would play and get their MMR higher and higher, but they would dodge their placement games, or their promotion games, sorry, and so they wouldn't actually climb any leagues, but their MMR would keep rising, so they would be in Bronze 5, but playing with Diamond players. Now this obviously isn't a perfect way to be having a system, the whole fact that everything revolves around something that you can't actually see, and it does create some frustrations and confusion like we're seeing now. However, the matchmaking system is never going to be perfect, and it is a very touchy subject. I'm not going to say that it's broken and that Riot are literally Hitler. I don't actually have any solutions. There's a reason why I don't work at Riot after all. So if you can understand that it's all based off of your MMR and not your actual league, then that might dispel some of the frustrations that you have when you are picking below players who have a lower league than you. However, there are some counter arguments to what I've just detailed, and some people who justify their frustrations still, so I wanted to just address them or talk a bit about them as well now. The first counter argument I hear is that people say it takes away from the notion that you are earning a higher pick order. The fact that you are playing, you're winning games, you're getting a higher MMR, and you are being rewarded by having a higher pick. And this is not a terrible argument by any means, and I can definitely understand where people are coming from. However, I would suggest to look at it from a different perspective. Think of your MMR as a tool to be determining what players are in your game, not necessarily what players have what pick in Champion Select, because you'll probably find that the MMR difference is quite slim anyway. The second argument is about duo queues and how this can ruin the pick order, but this is a hard one to address because duo queues in general tend to ruin the rules of MMR anyway. Normally the role of the matchmaking system is to find players of a similar MMR or a similar skill level and put them together. However, when duo queues are involved, those two players often wouldn't be in the same games anyway because their MMRs would be so different, so it kind of throws everything out the window. In the past, this would result in your top pick being of a higher elo than everyone else, and your 5th pick being of a much lower elo than everyone else. However, people have said that they've been matched with these kind of duo queues, but the person who would normally be 5th pick, who is much lower elo, would actually have a higher pick. Unfortunately, if there's a huge difference between the MMR of the two duo queues, then it kind of takes away from the integrity of ranked anyway, but definitely if that lower pick then gets to pick above people who are of the higher level than him, I don't think that's right. However, I also feel that that is a problem with the duo queue system in general and not this randomized pick order. But that's all I really wanted to say on this topic. At the end of the day, I know it can be quite frustrating if you feel like someone who is a worse player than you is picking before you, but if you're in the same game, chances are you are of a similar MMR and of a similar skill level anyway. As long as you're not consistently last pick, then in the long run things should work out, and that is actually what this randomized champion select order was introduced to do. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and you can subscribe to me too. But thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video.